We're recording. This is another reading of Mehera-Meher, page 255. Meher Baba says, "Come to me. I will take away this. I will take away that." Because it is really the taking away that is the grace, the gift. The side note says, once Mani stated that the Mandali are interested in self-effacement
Mm.
and not spiritual advancement on the path. We seek not God realization, but losing ourselves in Avatar Meher Baba, she wrote. So Baba says, "Come to me, I will take away this, I will take away that," because it is really the taking away that is the grace, the gift. One of Baba's Akbar Press followers, Alu Sata, was terminally ill. Like her sister Dune, Alu suffered from muscular dystrophy. For her birthday on 5 November, Mani wrote, "Beloved Baba's love to you, our very dear Alu, who truly serves him by making every moment of your life a living example of the truest prayer. Lord, thy will be done." A few weeks later, on 20 November, Baba visited Alu at Akbar Press. He told her not to worry. 2 days later, she passed away. Baba remarked, "I could have cured her in an instant, but it was good for her to suffer. She has come to me." When Baba and Mera walked through the Merazad garden, if a pokey bush happened to catch Baba's sadra, Mehera made sure not to go by that path again until the bush was pruned. Baba always wanted to wear the same well-worn sadras, as they were soft. He did not like a new one, which would be stiff. Meru washed Baba's sadras, and she had to be careful when washing them, as they were so sheer from wear. She hung the sadra up to dry and often thought, "This is Baba's daman," the hem of his sadra. Baba says for us to hold on to his daman, but the threads are so thin. I don't know if it will hold even one of us. But then Meru reasoned, the threads are his and all powerful. The women repaired Baba's torn sadras as best they could, but when they were irreparable, they were sent to the East Room at Upper Mehrabad, which had become a storage room. The cupboard was getting full, so one day Mehera asked Baba, "Do we still have to put all your old clothes and torn sadras there?" Baba answered, "Yes, keep them. The time will come in the future when people will fight for even a tiny piece of my sadra." On 18 November, Mani wrote to Irene, "The other day, Rano and Naja went to Meherabad to put mothballs in the trunks of clothes of Baba's early Western suits that are still there in the room. Mehera and we haven't seen Mansari for about 2 years. I guess it's a non sequitur. Since it was close to winter, it was cold in the morning, and Mehera asked Baba to wear a pair of socks before going to the mandali. Baba wore socks in the winter, Mehera said, mostly before 1956. After the second accident, Baba avoided socks, as walking in them with his sandals was difficult. Mehera confirmed. Baba didn't like to wear socks. He couldn't walk well in sandals with socks on. But he did wear them during winter at Meherabad and at times at Meherazad. Gajwani from Bombay had sent skin-colored wool, which Mani knitted into socks for him. She knitted it at breakfast time while Baba was eating. Baba wore them quite a number of times. Although Mehera herself never knitted a pair of socks for Baba, she did darn his socks. The heels would get worn out. Irene had shown us how to do it. But I hated doing anything with a needle. Like Baba, Mehera too disliked wearing socks and never wore them in any weather, no matter how cold, except while walking in the new life, when they had to wear shoes. Because Mehera never wore socks, her heels sometimes became hard and calloused. She rubbed her heels with sandpaper to clean them and applied cream or glycerin. Baba's skin, too, became dry during winter time. Mehera asked Baba whether she should apply a little glycerin. Do I really need it? Baba asked, frowning. Mehera said that he did, and Baba agreed. I put just a tiny bit on my hands and rubbed it in well on Baba's calves and legs as Baba sat on his bed. He didn't like anything greasy on his body, so I massaged his legs up and down till it was completely absorbed. To make sure there was no trace of grease after Mehera finished, she dried Baba's legs with a kerchief. Only his legs used to be dry, so he allowed us to apply a bit of rose water and glycerin. He would be seated on his bed and I on a carpet. I didn't do it every day, but once every other day during the dry, cold winter months. The sidebar says, because of the drying effects of winter air, after not bathing for weeks, the previous February, Erich had persuaded Baba to allow him to apply a paste of chickweed flour, milk, and shaving cream to his body instead of soap. Baba agreed reluctantly. Gohar too mentioned that Baba did not like anything greasy. He hated the smell of things like Vicks, Vaporub, or Bengay for his leg after the second accident, she said. Anita sent some wrap cream that wasn't greasy, which he used. One time I also had to apply an anti-phlogiston to Baba's chest. Sidebar says, creme wrap is a French product. applied to increase circulation. An antiphlogistin is a paste plaster which is usually heated to treat pneumonia or chest colds. Ordinarily, Baba ate dinner in his bedroom around 6 o'clock, and the women served him and kept him company. When he finished eating, Mehera and the other women left, and as mentioned, they were almost never called inside again. An exception to this was during the early 1960s, when for some days Baba began having dinner in his room around 8 o'clock and calling the women also. It was dark by then, and the women had to carry a large kerosene table lamp inside. Mani read by its light. She always kept a book ready in case Baba asked her to read while he ate. He did not always ask. Sometimes he did, and sometimes he did not. After dinner, Baba chatted with us for a while if he didn't feel sleepy, Mehera recalled, or if he was restless. Margaret Kraske, one of the Westerners, one of the Westerners who had stayed in the ashram in India, was now living in New York, teaching dance. With the help of Donald Mahler, one of her dancers who had met Baba in Myrtle Beach in 1958, Margaret regularly mailed books to Mani that Baba might enjoy. This was the bouquet or garland that Baba would happily accept from her, Mani explained. After finishing a new Rex Stout book, Baba would have us write to Margaret and ask for the next one. She would write back to say it hasn't even been printed yet. But the moment it was out, she would buy it and send it to Baba. Once Baba asked why Margaret had not sent another Nero Wolfe book. Mani said that Rex Stout had not written one yet. Baba made the gesture for a bird and said, "What's he doing about it?" Mani did not understand. But then she realized that Baba meant Donald, as in Donald Duck, for Donald Mahler. At the end of December, Mani began reading a new book Margaret had sent, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. The three other books in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings trilogy followed it. I read whatever Margaret sent, Mani continued. She was our book supplier. She sent the trilogy. First, The Hobbit. I read it out to Baba completely. There was no skipping over lines. I read as long as he wanted it. Sometimes it would be a few minutes, sometimes for a few hours, sometimes 3 times a day, other times once a day. People often ask Mani whether Baba ever read The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas or other books about Jesus. Mani replied, "No, Baba wanted something humorous. Baba was like the captain of a ship who wouldn't want to read about ships during his off time." And, and the side note says, Mani and other of the Mandali read The Robe and other similar novels sent to them, such as Dear and Glorious Physician by Taylor Caldwell. Erich, however, once read a passage to Baba from the Robert Graves novel King Jesus in which it describes Jesus having his hip broken in a ritual whereby the king is physically lamed, symbolic of the suffering he takes on. Baba was interested to know that Jesus too broke his hip, Erich recalled. Although another book about Jesus, The Nazarene, by Sholem Asch, was never read to Baba, some of the Mandali, Erich, Bao, Mani, Meheru, Rano, read it. Mehera herself never read it, but Mani read bits and pieces to her and described other parts. Side note says the Nazarene was discussed in front of Baba, and the Mandali had the impression that it was a fairly accurate portrayal of the Christ. Mehera's birthday was celebrated on 23 December, and Christmas 2 days later. Christ lived for love and died for love, Baba commented. He was love personified. Ruth Ringer of New York had sent Mehera a greeting card with a picture of Jesus in a white robe beside Mary Magdalene. That evening, Mehera remembered to show it to Baba. Baba took the card from her. Looking at it, he observed how beautiful Jesus was, and he declared, I was Jesus. Mehera said, this was the first time I heard Baba say, I was Jesus. He kissed the photo so sweetly. Baba told Mehera to have the card framed, and it was hung opposite Baba's bed. Mehera remembered one other time when Baba declared that he was Christ. It happened one night in his bedroom at Meherazad as he was wishing them good night. Baba made the sign for churches by crossing two fingers and pointing skyward like a steeple. Very seriously, he said, all prayers that are said in every church throughout the world, those prayers said with all heart, come to me because I was Christ. I and Jesus are one and the same. As a side note says, during Baba's physical presence, this greeting card of Jesus was kept on the wall next to two other pictures, one of flowers and the other a photo of Baba. A painting by Charles Mills now hangs in the spot. Recording,
You go first, then.
and here's a picture of the trio, Mani, Mehera, and Baba. Mehera's looking plump and well, I must say.
Yeah, and you
Bob,
can really see the mark on her forehead. Some people said it looked like a goblet.
uh-huh.
And
You see also the flowers that Baba said that he liked. The marigolds, you call them, the yellow
oh,
ones?
wow. Yeah, they're very tall.
Yeah, and she grew them just because he said he loved them, and she used to make garlands from them.
I really like
Yeah.
them too.
These are unusually tall. I've never seen tall marigolds before. Usually they're
Maybe,
like ankle high.
yeah, maybe they're growing on top of a bank or something.
Well, that's
Mm.
possible too, yeah, in a flower box.
And
Mm-hmm.
money is very beautiful.
Yeah.
That's 1960 photo by Joseph Harb.
Mm.
Yeah, Mani seemed to favor that kind of outfit, a long blouse and like uh, pajama pants underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that called Punjabi outfit, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
Punjabi.
Anyways,
And yeah. But
I would.
also, if Harp took this photo, then he saw Mera too.
hmm.
What's
What
that?
date is that? If
Ni-
Harp took the picture,
1960.
then he saw Mera too. What's the date? 1960.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when did Baba called Mera to see the mandali in 68 only, and there were very few men that saw Mera, and Joseph Harp took the picture that he
Mm-hmm.
saw Mera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Deb.
A few years before excuse me, this chapter is entitled 130, well, it's 132, East-West Showers. A few years before the new life, Baba had given Mera a gold sari pin that spelled Baba. Mera gave it to Vilu as a gift, but later regretted having given it away as Baba had touched it and given it to her. She did not say anything to Baba then, and over time forgot about it. In the early 1960s, more than 14 years later, one day Baba reached into his pocket and took out another gold pin, very similar to the original one, and presented it to Mera. Mera remembered the original one and felt so happy that Baba, knowing how she felt, had somehow obtained another one and surprised her. Baba had also given Mera a gold lady's wristwatch when they were living at Upper Mehrabad. Since the women were wearing long sleeves at the time, Mera had no occasion to wear it, so she kept it away. Years later, in Meherazad, she asked Baba if she could give the watch to Mani for her birthday. Baba said all right, and she did. But when Mera gave Mani the watch, Baba had Mani return a brooch to Mera, which Mera had given her years before. It was a crescent moon-shaped brooch of gold and seed pearls with a heart and an arrow. Mani interpreted it as a sort of exchange. Mera, Baba, and I were somehow involved. There was this exchange of the watch coming to me and the pin going back to Mera. I still have the watch, and I've never had to send it for repairs. And there's a side note. I guess I have to read that when we get a little further down the page. On 23 January 1962, Baba took the women for a drive in the morning to Ayempur Mosque, about 9 miles from Meherazad, where Baba had spent a few nights at the end of the new life.
That's probably Imampur. Imam.
Imam. Thank you. And I was even there once. Well, the ruins of it, I think that was the one. Yeah.
Huh.
The next day, Mera wrote to the
Oh,
West.
oh,
Hmm?
sorry, love. The side note is
Yeah, I can't see the whole thing though.
oh, I'll read it for you then. In January, an artist friend of Margaret sent a painting of Baba making the sign of perfection, and it was kept in the hall. Mehera and the other women were called to see it, and Mastan tagged along. As a joke, Mehera pointed to the portrait and told Mastan to kiss Baba. Surprisingly, the dog obliged. Then he went near Baba, who was seated nearby, and kissed him to the delight of all.
Wow. Wow. What a dog, huh?
Mm.
I wonder who painted the painting. Um, Anyways, let's see. The next day, Mera wrote to the Western women, Baba continues to feel very poorly. I have not let myself feel too worried about his health, as I know that being Baba, he has to carry this burden of ill health with that even greater unseen by us, burden which he has taken on in order to lift mankind from its morass of materialism and awaken all to the one eternal truth. Wow, I think I should read that sentence again. I have not let myself feel too worried about his health, as I know that being Baba, he has to carry this burden of ill health with that even greater, unseen by us burden, which he has taken on in order to lift mankind from its morass of materialism and awaken all to the one eternal truth. As we cannot share in this burden, we do what little we can to ease that part of it which is visible to us by coaxing beloved to eat more, take walks in the garden, drives with a mandali. Qawwali records are played, which he never tires listening to, and light reading he finds also a pleasant diversion. More words, please. Khorshid had come to Meherzad for Christmas, and she made a return visit on 8 February and again on 7 March. The following day, 8 March, Baba and all from Meherzad saw Bao's Hindi play, Jai Mehra, excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm not reading too well today. Mehera-Meher performed at the Sarosh Cinema in Ahmednagar. Local lovers and those from Meherbad also attended. When we went to see the drama in Nagar, Mani later wrote to Irene, we saw Mansari after a long while. I think it might be better if I read from the book here. A little hard for me to read on the screen. Got the book handy here. And what page is it?
To the top of 260.
Okay. Sorry about that, but it doesn't work for my eyeballs. Baba announced that he would not be giving darshan to any of his lovers at Guru Prasad that year. Instead, he would return to Pune in November for 7 days to give darshan to both his eastern and western lovers. Baba left for Pune at 8 a.m. on Saturday, 31 March, for his normal summer stay. Mehra, Mani, Meru, and Gohir traveled with him, while Nadja and Rano went with a few of the Mandali in Adi Sr.'s car. During their
in the online version, it just identifies Mayorji's car as a Chevrolet and the Mondley riding in the DeSoto.
Okay. During their 3-month sojourns in Pune, Nadja and Rano always stayed at Bindra House to help with the cooking. Rano peeled the vegetables while Nadja oversaw their preparation. Since Rano came to Guru Prasad every day, Mehra asked whether Rano could stay at Guru Prasad that year, and Baba agreed. Nadja sometimes came to Guru Prasad and asked Baba what he wished prepared for the next day. At times, when Baba had just finished eating, he did not want to discuss it. Still, Nadja would pester him. Are you insane? Baba asked her one day. He gestured an L and a D, joking. Send her to La Deval. This was in reference to Nadja telling people to drop her at the red brick Jewish synagogue, La Deval, because only from there could she find her way back to Bindra House. Okay. 2 American Sufis, Joseph and Carrie Harb, had been permitted to live in Pune. Joseph had purchased a car and took Baba for a drive in the mornings with a few of the Mandali. In the evenings, Baba relaxed on the veranda with Mehera and the other women, listening to Mani read. One of the books they enjoyed then was The Incredible Journey, with the story of 2 dogs and a cat. The Harbs had visited Meherazad in December and February, and a few of the color photographs were taken during one visit. One was of Baba, Mehera, and Mani in the garden, which we saw just a minute ago. Joseph had been permitted to greet Mehera from a distance. In Pune, in June, Joseph showed Baba color slides taken during his visit to Myrtle Beach in 1956 and 58. Although the darshan was stopped, Baba permitted some lovers to come to Guru Prasad to discuss plans for the upcoming East-West gathering. One unexpected visitor was Harry Kenmore. Kenmore telephoned first when he arrived in Pune on 7 May. Erich thought Harry was speaking from New York. Baba too listened to their phone conversation. It was the first and only time Mehera ever saw Baba using a telephone. There was a telephone in the Rani's bedroom, she recalled. It rang. They said they wanted Erich. Baba asked who it was. Well, I guess he must have gestured who it was. Who was it? Baba also came near the telephone, and I saw him listening to Kenmore on the phone. He was standing very near, telling Erich to say this or that, spelling it out. It wasn't long distance. Harry was in Pune. Baba was surprised. Ask him when he came, Baba said. I hate to talk on the telephone, Mehera commented. You don't see the person. It's not my cup of tea. The first time Mehera spoke on the telephone was at Guru Prasad. Somehow, Goher had to phone my dentist. Goher usually talked on the phone, but once she told me, you phone her yourself and make the appointment. There was a phone in the next bedroom to ours, also. I used to make excuses. I didn't want to be in the Rani's room where men might come. I was flustered. Anyway, I talked to the dentist. I felt strange. I couldn't properly hear sometimes. I held it near my ear. Twice I phoned her. Never in America or elsewhere did I use the telephone. Sidebar. In earlier years, when they were staying at Guru Prasad, Baba had accompanied the women on a few occasions to see a movie. Now the women generally went alone without Baba. Usually they went to the 6 to 9 p.m. show, but they also saw a couple of matinees. Despite Baba's seclusion, a few Bombay lovers were also permitted to see him and the women at Guru Prasad. Arnavas took the women to several films. That's when I should have read the sidebar. Tomorrow, Arnavas is taking us to another picture Mani wrote to Irene on June 19th. It was such a social life for us while in Pune, though just among our dear intimate group. There was always some happy excuse or another, someone's birthday or wedding or anniversary. Arnavas's brother had his firstborn, a boy, a few days ago. So all is well except for Baba's health, which is never so good since a long time. Whenever in Pune, the women also went shopping. Baba would send us shopping, said Mani. It was funny how, even though we had very little in those days, it took a lot of effort to think of what we needed. When Baba suddenly said, go shopping. Shopping? What should we get? How full life with Baba was that it didn't depend on things like that. We had nothing in those days, but we had had everything in the sense that our lives and our feelings were so full that there was nothing lacking, nothing wanting. Baba just completely filled every nook and cranny of one's life and heart. While shopping, the women had to be extra vigilant of Mehera. The shops were usually very small and narrow, Mani continued. Mehera still must not touch anybody. We must also avoid touching her. But if, in the act of protecting Mehera, we happened to touch her, it would not be wrong. So we go into the shop, Meru, Goher, and I with Mehera. When a salesman showed her something, we suddenly put out our hand and took it away from him to put it in Mehera's hand. Someone had to be at the back. We would come home and laugh about it. Margaret could have choreographed it. One memorable event that occurred in Gurprasad that summer was the death of one of Baba's earliest Mandali, Vishnu, on 13 May, Meru related. The Mandali were sharing night duties that year. There had been a rare darshan program and a performance by Jaipuri Kawal. It was very unusual for Baba to stay in the hall so late, then to have his supper and chit-chat with us, rather than relax in his room. The buzzer rang and Goher went to answer it. It was Vishnu, wanting to know when he should be on night duty, as Baba had still not gone to his room. As Vishnu was asking this, he collapsed. He had a heart attack right there in front of Goher. Baba came over and Vishnu breathed his last in Baba's presence. We felt it was for this reason that Baba had delayed going to his room that day. Goher called out, "Look, Vishnu, Baba has come." Though Vishnu's heart had stopped and he was no longer breathing, his eyes, which had been half closed, suddenly opened wide and rested on Baba.
Okay. Go ahead, Deb.
One memorable event that occurred in Guru Prasad that summer was the death of one of Baba's earliest Mandali, Vishnu, on 13 May. Meru related. The Mandali were sharing night watch duties that year. There had been a rare darshan program and a performance by Jaipuri Kawal. It was very unusual for Baba to stay in the hall so late, then have his supper and chit-chat with us, rather than relax in his room. The buzzer rang and Goher went to answer it. It was Vishnu, wanting to know when he should be on night duty, as Baba had still not gone to his room. As Vishnu was asking this, he collapsed. He had a heart attack right there in front of Goher. Baba came over and Vishnu breathed his last in Baba's presence. We felt it was for this reason that Baba had delayed going to his room that day. Goher called out, "Look, Vishnu, Baba has come." Although Vishnu's heart had stopped and he was no longer breathing, his eyes, which had been half closed, suddenly opened wide and rested on Baba. They stayed like that until someone gently closed them. The Mandali considered Vishnu extremely fortunate to die in the beloved's presence, and Baba said as much. I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory of Vishnu is that he, when Baba was in Pune in the very early days, Vishnu lived across, very, very near to where Baba's, what do you call, headquarters were, somewhere in Pune. And Vishnu was a young boy and getting into hanging out with boys that his mother didn't think were good for him to hang out with. His father had died, I guess. Father wasn't there. And it's just his mother trying to take care of him. And Baba said to his mother, he said, I'll take care of Vishnu, don't worry. And he did. And Vishnu was drawn into Baba's orbit. And Vishnu's mother Baba liked her cooking. This is what I remember. But you guys are the ones that have read Mehera, Lord Meher more recently than me. So is that what
Yeah,
you remember
you're
also?
right. You're right about all you said. Her name was Kakubai, and Baba called Vishnu to him. Vishnu came to him once and just got prasad. That's how Baba got to know him. And then his mother said to Baba what she said. Vishnu came to him and he slapped him. And he said, "Why are you slapping me?" He said, "Because these guys used to take him to he used to not study and just go to the movies all the time." So, so Baba put him in his place. And yes, he told his mother that he liked her cooking. And he used to come and eat. If I remember right, what happened was he came to eat her food, and then one day he didn't. One day there was no food, or she didn't prepare food, or she threw the food, or something, and he came after she threw that and or ate that, or I don't remember. And from that she learned to always have Baba's food ready, whether he came or not came. Then when Vishnu moved to Meherabad with Baba, she also later on moved to Meherabad, and she died in Meherabad. And she used to cook this meal for Baba always, even if he was far away.
Yeah, and they had to keep his food ready with no microwave and no refrigerator. That must have been pretty difficult to do.
Yeah, but you know, they had these cupboards which had a screen on it, not a door. And so the flies will not come. And that's where they used to put the food. But then, you know, and the next morning they threw it if it just spoiled. But he was adamant that they keep the food. He did that to Naja as well. And he did that to the Sata family as well. He
Yeah,
used to
I
go
remember.
directly to the cupboard and open it, you know.
Well,
Just take
Bob,
the
I
leftovers.
guess I guess you're saying that Baba liked his midnight snacks.
It's not that, it's that he wanted them in this way to remember him always,
Yeah.
to always wait for him, you know? Like when Kaka, when he was on the New Life, Kaka used to clean his room every day, as if Baba would come there. He used to pour water and everything. So there's also stories of monasteries in Tibet, the same thing, that the master went away or died or just went away, and they kept his room and kept everything ready. It's a kind of remembrance, you know, it's like a jap.
Okay, speaking of remembrance, let's remember we're recording. And Mikal, why don't you take a shot?
Okay, so is it from Baba Returned?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. Hello, Baba Tal, Mel Baba, and dear Baba. Baba returned to Merazad on Sunday, 8 July. Silence Day was observed 2 days later, and Mera confessed to Baba the following day that she had broken her silence once when she said something to her pet, Mastan. Because of continued pain in Baba's neck, the East-West gathering was curtailed from 7 to 4 days. Adele Walkin, a nurse, was to arrive in India early to spend 3 months working in the maternity home in Bombay. Mani wrote to her on 16 July, "We have unpacked and slipped into the old daily routine, but we feel far from the usual settled down feeling, as our minds and hearts are so occupied with the return to Pune in October for the great event in November. So at last it is to be. His East and West family coming together at his beloved's feet in India. And we are so happily looking forward to seeing you, dear ones, in Pune." After Vishnu's death, his cousin Sushila, she's also an elder one in Meherabad till her last days, Sushila was allowed to move to Meherabad. Baba also permitted her to stay at Merazad for a few days, but he wanted her never to reply back to Mera or Mani, whatever or whether or not she liked what they were saying. Sushila slept in Naja's room, and Naja thought the young woman would be happy to help in the kitchen. It was cooking for Baba after all. But Sushila made all sorts of excuses, such as, Baba might not like my cooking. She had permitted to visit Gur Prasad also, where Baba told her to keep watch so that no intruders entered the gate. She did it for some time, but did not continue, as she wanted to read storybooks all the time, according to Mehera. Sushila was not called often after that. Gulmai's health, too, had been deteriorating. She was suffering from colon cancer and kidney failure, and she passed away on 10 August. Gulmai had rarely visited Merazad during the final years of her life. She wasn't well, and Baba saw her at Adi's Kushbu quarters, Mera explained. Baba went to Mehrabad for Gulmai's funeral on 11 August. As if to further honor his spiritual mother, his visit to Mehrabad for her funeral in 1962 was the last time Meher Baba ever visited Mehrabad, the property that Gulmai had been so instrumental in procuring for his use. On the side note, it says, Baba himself threw roses on her grave, Mehera stated, probably more to please Adi than anything else, as when his own parents died, Baba did not go to their funeral. Can you put it up, please? Can you scroll up, please? What's happening? Thank you. So I'll read it again. Baba himself threw roses on Gulmai's grave. Mehera stated, probably more to please Adi than anything else. As when his own parents died, Baba did not go to their funeral. Were they less than Gulmai? Gulmai's sister Sunamasi and her daughter Khorshid were unable to come from Bombay in time for the funeral. They arrived 4 days later, however, and paid their respects at the grave. They were allowed to visit Merazad also and spent an afternoon with Mehera and the other women. Meanwhile, preparations were underway for the East-West gathering. This was not to be a public darshan program. It was not advertised, and only followers of Meher Baba were invited. Every detail of the arrangements was made with Baba's approval. He was most particular about those coming from the West, as evidenced by these 2 letters of money in October she wrote to Adele. When you are with us women at Guru Prasad, do not mention before dear Mehera about Naju's Kotwal visit to US, nor about my family in England, Adi, Freni, Dara, Shireen, whom Adele had sent on her way to India. Whom Adele had seen on her way to India. It is nothing to do with the dear's personally at all, but just one of those orders concerning Mehera. The same applies to all correspondence, as I had mentioned in a previous family letter. Do not mention family letters either when you are with us, girls. So I want to read that again. Can we read that again? Yeah. So in October, she wrote to Adele, when you are with us women at Guru Prasad, do not mention before dear Mehera about Naju Kotwal's visit to US, nor about my family in England, Adi, Freni, Dara, Shireen, whom Adele had seen on her way to India. It is nothing to do with the dears personally at all, but just one of those orders concerning Mehera. The same applies to all correspondence. As I had mentioned in a previous family letter, do not mention family letters either when you are with us girls. 3 days before Baba and the women left for Pune, Mani wrote to Arnavas.
Oh, read the sidebar because it
Okay.
applies to the former.
Okay, so just give the whole sidebar up, give also the bottom up. Okay, another of those orders concerning Mehera was not to send Mehera separately any Baba magazine or publication, not that she did not appreciate it. As Erich explained to one group, Baba liked it this way, as Mehera should be kept aloof from the headaches of publications and correspondence. In short, no correspondence should be addressed directly to Mehera. Does it say anything more down there? Yeah. All that is to be sent to her should or may be, can you scroll? All that is sent to her, to be sent to her, should or may be addressed to Erich or anyone of the Mandali. This is how Baba wants it. Interesting. So can you go up because then the text so we can see if we are not missing a line?
So this is a good place to stop, actually, just before this letter of Mani's to Arnavaz.
Okay.
And we'll pick up here next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's, just to think